You know, reviewing flagships is to a certain degree easy. Usually they'll offer the best there is of everything, and really all you have to do is verify if the implementation is as good as the price tag. These are the phones you expect to bring the best cameras, the best performance, the coolest features, and the future-proof longevity you'll be willing to pay extra for. Mid-rangers are an entirely different animal. Usually companies will use flagship names to make them aspirational, but it's always understood that the experience is going to be watered down. I mean, why should any company give you a cheaper phone that's just as good as the expensive one? Unless, of course, this is that one company that hasn't really found success in anything it hasn't priced aggressively. This is the Pixel 4a, what the company dubs as the phone that's packed with the things you want, and a direct successor to one of the sleeper hits of 2019. From what we know, the Pixel 3a outsold every other Pixel by such a high margin that it only made sense for Google to do it again. And let's see if this time it did age the part. I'm Jaime Rivera with Pocket Now, and this is my experience with the Google Pixel 4a after about a month, and after using it with Android 11. So according to Google, what the average consumer wants is a great camera, good battery life, useful software experiences, and also peace of mind when it comes to buying a phone. Other elements like build quality and the guts are sort of secondary if it can deliver on those four things. And this 3A and 4A experiment has proven to be quite the shocker. This little phone is probably the most affordable device I've tested this year, and also one of my favorites. Let me start this video with a sort of an apology. I panned this phone in every single leak and rumor that I saw. It just looked so dull and ugly in every single render that we caught, and this is the perfect example that you should not judge a book by its cover. In a word, I'd call the Pixel 4a as cute. I would have preferred a more inspired color than just black, but in person it doesn't look that bad actually. If you've ever held the Pixelbook Go, this phone manages to provide the same powder-coated feel but on polycarbonate, and with a mint-colored button to provide some sort of contrast. At just 143 grams, it also offers a breath of fresh air in a sea of large and heavy phones. To achieve this, Google just joined the bezel-less race, finally. No more horrible notches, no more lack of symmetry. This is a 5.8-inch OLED panel with Full HD Plus resolution at 60Hz and just a minor punch hole in the corner that won't really bother your experience. It's got very decent contrast at 100,000 to 1, and colors and viewing angles are actually the best that I've tested in this price range. Also, wow, these speakers. This is one of the few phones of its price with dual firing modules, and they're so deep that you'll feel the phone vibrate. And some of the design DNA of the Note 10 Plus. Oh, and yes, there's also a headphone jack. I also think Google learned their lesson in cutting corners with glass integrity. My Pixel 3a didn't survive its first fall from waist height with Dragon Trail glass, while the Pixel 4a jumps to a more known Gorilla Glass 3. Still, given the plastic build and the smudge-friendly back, it's always a great idea to protect this phone, and you know you can trust channel sponsor Subcase to get that done in a very affordable way. The award-winning UB Pro continues to be one of our favorite cases for this phone. Now, if you're worried about specifications, I suggest you don't. The Snapdragon 7 series has made quite a name for powering the premium mid-range, so it's a jump from the old 6 series that we had on 3A. It has the same RAM and a larger battery than the higher-end Pixel 4, and it actually doubles their starting storage. It supports the same fast charging and actually includes the adapter in the box, and really all you're missing here is water resistance and wireless charging, which are actually hard to find at this price point. Seriously, all you need to do is fire it up and play with it to notice you'll be fine. This is one of the few phones right now running Android 11 since its launch, and it does it really well. Even with the lack of high refresh rate, the user experience feels really smooth. Thing is, if you haven't tried Android 11, you should. I have a full separate video on how it finally made me love the Pixel 4 XL. See, Google finally gave a break to the notification shade. These are now stacked in conversations, alerts, and silent notifications, offering a better solution than even the simple chronological order I was asking for. Music controls are now moved to the quick controls menu, screenshots are now portrayed in a different location instead of creating just another notification. You also get notification history in case you dismissed anything by accident. And then the power button also evolves into having a menu control for your home automation. Even the multitasking menu got an added bump in controls and functionality. And yes, you can now technically resize picture-in-picture, but it seems that applications like YouTube still don't support it. About the only thing that I miss is some sort of facial recognition for notifications on the lock screen to only show these if my face is detected. But in these hard times, a fingerprint scanner is far more useful with a face mask. And sure, we also lose the ability to squeeze the phone for the Google Assistant, but all the functionality is still here. The phone detects what song is playing through its always-on display, and you can use on-device dictation for when you're on the go. And yes, even your voice notes get transcribed in real time if that's your thing. Now, probably one of the biggest surprises is Google in full control of its craft. This phone is proof that you don't need thousands of dollars in hardware to get great performance or even great endurance. This phone is actually a 2-day phone sometimes, depending on how you tax it. For me, battery life has been truly epic. The last thing left to judge is the camera, and this is another spot where I recommend you don't judge based on the spec sheet. We have a single shooter on each side that's pretty well equipped on their own, and sure, it doesn't follow on that trend of offering more cameras, but let's just be realistic. At this price point, those other phones with more cameras don't do well. If you care about photos that are too good for the price, then you have to get this phone. This is Google at its finest, with some amazing color reproduction, contrast, and some crazy good dynamic range, regardless of the conditions you place this little camera. This is the phone I'll use for any product photo I need for Instagram. Like, seriously, I just don't recommend you zoom into subjects, as sure, Google tries to help the results with some software, but physics is physics. And then when shifting into selfies and portraits, this is pretty much a Pixel 4 with some of the best dynamic range, even if the skin tones are probably a little overdone for my taste. Still, it proves that great software can give optics some good competition. Really, what I want you to see is this. Set your phone to night mode, prop it on a tripod or stand, and wait for the prompt. Notice the astrophotography mode being suggested. Like, wow. Depending on the light, the phone will take from 2.5 to 3.5 minutes and just obliterate any other more expensive phone. I mean, standard night mode is great, selfie night mode is also here, but guys, astrophotography is just insane and it requires no efforts, no manual controls. Just wait for the setting, let it do its thing. Really, the only thing I wish this phone had was 4K selfie video to match the performance of the standard camera, but again, that's also a standard that's not common for this price. Still, stabilization is good and the overall results are seriously top, even when compared to flagships today. To conclude, let me just flat out say it. Buy this phone with confidence. Even if you're not on a tight budget, this phone is so good it really makes me question why anyone would want to spend more on a smartphone. And sure, it lacks a few tricks that we'll most likely see on the newer Pixels that are coming soon, but if this is any indication of what's to come, I'm seriously excited and impressed. If the challenge is to give users a great camera, great battery, useful software, and peace of mind, this phone nails almost everything. For me, peace of mind includes water and dust resistance, which this phone lacks, but let's be real, in this price range, that's very hard to find. The Google Pixel 4a is not the perfect phone, and I don't think that any of us were expecting it to be. It's just proof that expensive hardware isn't everything. Even if flagships are your thing, I would still highly recommend this as a great gift for anyone, or a great way for you to get started with Google hardware if you haven't. Let us know what you think about the Google Pixel 4a in the comments down below. And while you're at it, follow us on social media and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this one. Also follow me on my personal handles to see me fall in love with the unexpected. Please give this video a thumbs up if you like what you saw. I'm Jaime Rivera. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one.